Hi guys, and welcome to Freckle Finance. Today I wanted to do a video on my 5 go-to budget dinners. So I know I'm not the only one who will spend too much money on groceries the first few weeks of the month, and the last month you're not left with very much grocery money, but you want to come up with healthy, at least semi-healthy, depending on your definition of healthy food, meals, as well as them still taste good and be somewhat easy most of the time. So here are the meals that I like to make when we need to cut back on that last week of money for groceries because we spent too much the rest of the month. So the first type of meal that I like to make is stir fry, and that's because rice is really cheap. You can buy whatever vegetables are cheap in the store, as well you can just buy frozen vegetables, which tends to be cheaper. I always make homemade sauces, which is usually pretty quick to make. It maybe takes a minute. It's not that much more difficult at all, and you don't have to pay like $2-3 for the bottle. And then you can buy whichever meat is on sale and you're pretty much done, and stir fries are really quick to make. The second meal, and this is definitely not a common thing that people eat. I know most people I've talked to about this meal have never heard of it, and it's called tuna puttanesca. Now this is an Italian pasta dish, and you can make it with other types of meat, but the tuna does go really well with it. And canned tuna is very cheap, and it only involves 1 can of tuna in it. So it's a very cheap way to get your meat products into the meal. As well, it's also a quick homemade tomato sauce that you make. It basically has a jar of crushed tomatoes, anchovies, capers, which I don't actually buy the capers because I don't know where to buy them in my grocery store, and it still tastes fine without it. And then olives, which I don't always buy the olives either. So it's pretty much like a quick tomato sauce, and you just put it on pasta. So as you can tell, since none of those items cost very much money, that is a pretty cheap meal. And I think it tastes really good, and it definitely does not taste like a cheap meal, which is great. The third meal is shepherd's pie, and if anyone is from the UK, I really mean cottage pie, but nobody around here calls it that. We do not normally put lamb in our shepherd's pie in North America. So as well for this one, ground beef is pretty cheap. Potatoes are definitely cheap, and you can buy either corn or just peas for it, or get one of those mixed corn, peas, and carrot mixes that are frozen. And you can put cheese on it, but if you're really on a tighter budget, you can take the cheese off. It still tastes great. It's also simple to make, and shepherd's pie was my favorite food like for most of my childhood, so I definitely approve. So the fourth meal, and this is something that we are actually going to be eating next week, so I do actually have it on me now, which is just ham, rice, and vegetables. And when I mean ham, I mean this kind of ham. You can buy individually sliced ham. It doesn't have to be this company or anything. This is just what was cheapest at the grocery store compared to what the size was when I went to purchase it. This was $9. I'm sure in the US, it is a lot cheaper in a lot of places. This is Canada, and this is downtown Toronto. So $9 for this was very, very good. And of course, very quick to make. You just pop it in the oven. You can just cook it there. You can even just take a slice off and fry it in a frying pan. And then I just usually make rice with it. Everyone knows rice is cheap as well. I just usually add bouillon of some sort just to give it a bit of flavor. And once again, you can just cook up some frozen vegetables because frozen vegetables are cheaper than fresh vegetables for the most part. And the fifth meal is a soup. So I guess it could be more of a lunch, but it can be fairly filling. And that's a 9-bean soup, or kind of any variation on bean and lentil soups also work. I personally have this gigantic thing of 9-bean soup mix from Costco. I don't remember what it cost, but it was definitely a good value. You could also just buy 9 types of dried beans, but dried beans are very inexpensive. And other than pretty much buying diced tomatoes and cutting up an onion, everything else is very minor ingredients that pretty much everyone already has and is very inexpensive. So it is a very cheap meal. And you saw that I have eaten quite a bit of it, so I do like this soup. It's not something that's like, oh, it's so gross, there's 9 types of beans in it or whatever. I do also like this soup. So those are my 5 go-to budget meals. I hope this helps. I did try to make a variety of meals. I didn't want to just give 5 pasta dishes because most people know that you can make pasta cheaply, and I also wanted to give some more untraditional budget foods and just give a variety, because nobody wants to be eating the same thing every single day just because they have a little less money that week for their grocery budget. As well, make sure to click that subscribe button, as I do upload videos regularly, and you can also like me on Facebook. Have a good day. Bye.